Here we go.
Coming to you live from the JRE Tobacco Aladino Mobile Studios, it's the Cigar Pulpit.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm the Bishop of the Burn, Nick, and we've got a special episode today. So we have a couple of guests. We have frequent guest host. We have Dave from the Smokin Butts and Tappin Ash podcast. How are you, Dave?
Great.
And then joining us via Zoom, we have comic book professional Graham Nolan. How you doing, Graham?
Hey, Nick, what's happening?
Not much, man. I appreciate you taking time out on a gorgeous Saturday here. And we're gonna get a little nerdy here. We're gonna have some fun today because Dave and I, we've actually just been prior to doing the Zoom here, we've been going through my garage, and Dave's been buying some stuff from me. And
Yes.
and
Nick,
oh yeah,
Nick is purging.
I'm purging. I'm in the purging process.
When you say stuff, you mean comics or toys, or what are we purging?
So far, it's been
Toys.
toys and some video game items. The comics we haven't even begun to get to yet. And to be honest, that's going to be something that I'll probably do. I'll get your assistance on, Dave, but that's going to be me kind of handling that. But yeah. So
you got a couple.
Just a little bit, just a few. But today we are going to be smoking the Diamond Crowned Black Diamond Emerald. Now, this is featuring a Connecticut Havana seed wrapper, Dominican binder, and filler. And we're smoking the emerald size, which is a 6x52. And then what have you got there, Graham?
Well, I've got a hand rolled. It's called a Las Martinez. It's rolled at my cigar club, and this is a wrapper, Churchill.
Nice,
very cool,
very cool.
I also have a Gurkha. I have a smaller Gurkha, just in case.
So just in case we just keep going, why not? You
never have too much ammo.
No, this is true. And you've got to I know you were worried about the weather today and everything, so I'm happy to see that it's nice and pleasant there so far. So that's good.
It's a little chill, but for this time of year, so I got a sweatshirt on. But other than that, no rain.
Same. I think we're a high of only like 70 today.
It's
so
beautiful.
It's gorgeous. But anyway, it is time to cut the cigar, and the official cutting is brought to you by 2guyscigars.com. That's the number 2guyscigars.com. Two Guys have been around for 40 years, and they are the trusted name in the cigar industry. Everybody knows Two Guys, but if you don't, please give them a try. You won't be sorry. Family owned and operated, 2guyscigars.com does the very best to provide a great selection, fair prices, and awesome customer service. Dave, is there anything else you can want in a cigar website?
There's nothing.
There's nothing else. Nothing else. Please go to 2guyscigars.com for your next cigar purchase and tell them that the Cigar Pulpit sent you. That's the number 2guyscigars.com. And with that, it's time to go ahead and cut the cigar. I didn't clear the chamber from the last time I cut the cigar.
You have that habit.
I do. I have a little cutter that holds the schmuckus inside. And so anyway.
I did a punch.
Okay.
Got a punch.
I have a punch on the bottom of my lighter. Actually, it's a look at that.
Nice. This lighter is so cool because it's got the punch in it, right?
Yeah.
It's got a top that you can rest your cigar on.
Yeah.
And if you get one of those hard draw ones, you pull this thing out and you dig out.
That's almost exactly like mine.
And then you beat me.
I have those same features.
Nice.
Very handy.
Awesome. I think this was like $25 on eBay. Not eBay, Amazon.
There you go. See, and that's the thing. People sometimes buy these really expensive accessories. You don't need to. You can find a really, really good one that's nice and affordable. Although my cutter, I will admit, I did drop a pretty penny on that. But I don't mind. For whatever reason, a lighter, I don't want to spend big money. But a cutter, I'll spend, bigger money on that. So
those plastic ones suck. I mean, you'll end up cutting yourself.
Yeah.
And I have.
Yeah. nobody needs to slice off a fingertip with a guillotine cutter. You know,
No.
that's just not cool. So
Sounds like a jet engine.
it gets all quiet when everybody's lighting up. So Dave and I will also be pairing our cigars with a beer that you brought. Would you? Oh, he's lighting a cigar. We're going to be drinking the Maduro Brown Ale from Cigar City Brewing. Now, you said you've had this one before, Graham.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of the Cigar City stuff. Whenever I'm down in Florida, especially in the Tampa area, it's because that's where they're from.
Okay.
I always get the stuff on tap while I'm there, but
Nice.
great stuff. The brown ale is a really nice one, and their highlight IPA is excellent.
Okay. I'm not a big IPA guy. I'm not big into the hoppy beer like that. The really IPA hoppy strong beer.
Yeah.
But
this one's a good one though, because it's more citrus than pine. You know,
Okay.
some of those IPAs, it's like you're eating pine needles.
Mhm.
yeah.
I don't like those, but if it has a citrus flavor to it, I really like those.
Okay. Perfect. I mean, I'll try it. I'll try anything once. I mean,
That's what I've heard.
oh, thanks. So Graham, it's been a minute.
If there's anything wrong with that.
No, I mean, whatever you're into. I mean, so it's been a minute since I've had you on the show. How you been? What's been going on?
Oh my gosh. I married off 3 daughters in 18 months.
Congratulations.
I got a grandbaby.
And a grandbaby. That's
Yep.
huge. Congratulations there too.
Yeah. Been busy with Compass Comics, launching projects and writing and illustrating, graphic novels and stuff for the company. And so that's been keeping me very, very busy.
Nice. I know I've kept up on all of your Indiegogo campaigns and I'm locked and loaded and ready to roll on all those, including the one that's currently live right now, the Joe Frankenstein Volume 3.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. We've got that going on. And then you have it's funny. So I bought a house in July and I've been moving. I moved and I've been unpacking, I should say. And which brings to what we were talking about earlier, I think before the cast, that I've been kind of in a purge mode, unpacking and looking at stuff and whatever. And in the process of that, I came across, and I didn't even think to pull it out here, but I have the big giant Monster Island tome that you did. I don't remember the publishing house that you did that through.
It was Ominous Press.
That's it. I tracked that down, and that's in the living room. But you're getting ready to ship Monster Island books again.
Yeah, well, not getting ready. We're halfway through.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we had promised fulfillment to start sometime in September, but we started in mid-August rather. So we're halfway through. We're actually a little bit past halfway through shipping. So that's really great. Whenever we can get the stuff earlier to the fans, the better.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And things have been going well with the comics. I mean, everything's been going well with the campaigns, and you're seeing growth with Compass Comics and everything.
Oh, absolutely. It's each one is either picking up more backers or it's more successful financially. Sometimes those two don't match up because it depends on what perk levels you have. But I couldn't be happier. It's a great relationship you have with the fans when you're doing this stuff that you didn't have when I worked for the big companies. It's a much more personal way to work.
Yeah. Well, and I think as a reader, you can kind of pick. I mean, Dave, chime in. I think you can kind of pick up on that.
Yeah.
And you can tell when it's more of a passion project versus just the flavor of the month.
Yeah. I gear more towards the independent stuff because you feel more part of it. I do anyway.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. When you're with independence or crowdfunding, you are a part of it. You're a big part of it because we couldn't do it without you. We'd be sucking on the tit of Marvel and DC.
Yeah.
Like they've had to do for the last 80 years.
Well, and my God, you've got the even more corporate overlords of Disney and Warner Brothers / Discovery. And I
Exactly.
mean, to be honest, the comics, you and I were talking about this the other day. David sent me a link we were talking about different artists and their thing.
Yeah.
And you referenced an artist, and I had no idea who this person was. And apparently this person, they do well with, the covers and pinup style type thing. And so they're popular on Instagram, and they sell out their original artwork. But I had no clue who they were. And then, I got to thinking about it. It's like, well, shit, I don't even know many actual like interior pencilers these days either. I mean, to say, oh, who's drawing Detective Comics, for example, one of your old books. I mean, it's like, who's drawing that these days? I couldn't even tell you who it is.
Either.
I couldn't either.
And that's the thing. It's like you just, they're just cogs in the machine anymore. And it's an IP factory.
And you'll see a lot of guys from either South America or overseas because they're younger guys. They can hire them cheaper. Some of them live in countries where the artists are subsidized, so the rates go a long way. Whereas don't. There was a time back in the 90s when Marvel had farmed out all their coloring to Ireland, and they were paying dirt cheap rates because the Irish could do it because they're subsidized artists, so they could make up the difference in government payments. Of course, the stuff looked like crap, and they pulled it from Ireland pretty quick. But it just shows you what they're willing to do.
Yeah. Save a penny, and yeah, exactly. I don't know, but I tend to find that the independent stuff, like to Dave's point and to your point, that like you say, it's more personal, and you guys put in more effort and energy into it. And when you're giving updates, you understand when things get delayed and whatnot. Not that I'm saying you've had a bunch of delays or anything, but like there have been some projects I joined in on a Kickstarter for it was a book of Joe Jusko, Marvel Masterworks, the first trading card set from back then. He did a book of those paintings, and that was supposed to be fulfilled, I feel like, April of last year, and here we are now in September of 24, and I just got the notice that it's finally starting to ship.
Oh man.
And I didn't care. It's like, look, I get it. It's been a year and a half past the due date, but they've been very good about, these are the problems we're encountering. This is the delay we're encountering. All of our books are on a slow boat from, this place, and it's taking forever. And so you get it. You understand.
Well, this is why I print all my books in the United States. In fact, I do everything that I possibly can in the United States. Every once in a while, I'll run into an issue where you just can't get it manufactured in the United States. Like if I was to do an action figure, you just can't do it. There's nobody that can do it in the United States. So you have to go to China for that.
Wow.
When I did the Chenu plushie, I found there's nobody that would manufacture it fully in the United States, but I did find a company in North Carolina that they do the design work, they get the templates done and the materials in China shipped over, and then they put it together here in the United States so that you can say made in the USA in the label. It's as good as I could do it. Challenge coins that is the only thing that I have manufactured in China because there's nobody in the United States. I thought I was getting it done in the United States, to be honest, because I found this company in Florida. But when it gets shipped, I found out it was coming from Wuhan, China. I'm like, what the hell?
You got to watch stuff coming from Wuhan.
I know. I put it in a kiln and killed all the germs that
Oh my gosh.
But
really?
As far as the books themselves, they're all my books. I pay more. But it's worth it to keep the jobs in the U.S.
Well, and the quality I think is really good. So I mean, you don't mind. I mean, if
Mhm.
if the consumer has to pay a little more, it's not like we're getting a subpar product. I mean, my God, you
Oh,
go out these days and you buy, a Marvel book. I mean, you might be getting it on newsprint and it's costing $4.99, for
Exactly.
22 pages.
Or more,
Or yeah,
upwards of $10.
yeah. So, but
yeah.
it's
To
not.
be honest, when you do the math on it, like a Marvel comic, there's 20 pages of content in it. It used to be 22 pages of content, and then the rest were ads. But they, I don't know, about 10 years ago, they knocked it down 2 pages to 20. And they printed on like the lowest grade coated stock. I think it's a 60 pound. So it's very floppy, and the cover is only maybe a pound heavier than that. So the cover isn't
Yeah.
that much heavier than the interior work. It's saddle stitched. It's supposed to be a cheap medium, and at $5 a pop, it's no longer cheap for something that's going to give you such a little bang for your buck.
Yeah. Yeah.
When the artwork is not very good, the writing's not very good, you know, um, so I can see why people are starting to walk away. My books are bigger. They're like 72 pages of content. It's on a higher grade. It's got a cardstock cover with spot UV on it, all the upgrades and extras to make it look and feel like something special. And those are $25. And when you do the math on a per page count, it's about the same per page, maybe slightly more, but the quality is so much better.
For sure.
So people say, "Oh, I'm not going to pay $25 for a comic," but you're paying that when you buy 2 or 3 Marvel comics to make up the same amount,
Yeah.
and you get an inferior product.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly it. I mean, it just and again, you're supporting the creator directly with your product versus,
Right.
putting more on the bottom line of Disney. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Yeah, and the distributor, and then the
Yeah.
retailer.
Yeah.
That chain of command, that everybody takes a bite at it. Whereas like we produce it, we create it, we sell it, and we ship it and fulfill it ourselves.
yeah. Yeah. You and your wife are there in the fulfillment center. I've seen
Yes,
the posts on Instagram. That's really
she's
fun.
mostly there. She's mostly that's her gig.
There you go. There you go.
Much more organized. She's German, very organized. I just come hither.
You just do what she tells you. That's the best
That
way
is
of
true,
handling
too.
that. That's the best way of handling that. So,
No doubt about that.
well, fun. So tell me about this cigar club of yours and tell me about that cigar of yours.
It's the Buffalo Cigar Club. They have, I think, 2 locations. One is in Orchard Park, which is not that far from me.
Okay.
And then one's out in Williamsville, which is a little bit further, about 25 minutes away. In there, they sell cigars, cigar materials and stuff. And then they have a big lounge too. They have giant screen TVs. You can watch football games and whatever. There's an outside patio for this time of year. You can sit outside. It's really nice. I don't smoke inside, not in
Yeah.
my house, at least. So in the wintertime when it's cold and I need a break, I'll go over there and go to the lounge. So that's why I keep the membership up.
That's
Plus
nice.
they have a guy there that I think he's an expat from Cuba by way of Dominican. He played semi-pro ball, lived in New York, enrolled there, and then he moved to Western New York. And now he works at the Cigar Lounge producing, various and different kinds of hand-rolled cigars.
Okay. That's awesome. That's really
very
neat.
cool. Very cool.
Whereas this one's a Connecticut, which is, very pretty mild, all
Yeah.
tall. I don't know what the interior stuff is, but it's definitely a Connecticut wrapper. But it's not too robust,
Yeah.
and Churchill size, so it'll last you a good length.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was just on a previous episode talking about, hey, it's already September. We need to be starting to think about what we're doing for the winter time and various things like that. And I don't smoke indoors either because, as we've just been talking about for the last however long, I tend to collect paper goods, and smoke and paper goods tend to not go together very well.
No, they don't. They are not friends.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, in terms of the smoking for the wintertime prospect, I have a ice fishing tent that I set up in my backyard. But now that I've bought the house, the next big purchase will be I want to outfit a shed, make like a little office and podcast studio and everything to be able to smoke out in the backyard. But you brought up an interesting point. So do you make it to the lounge more frequently? Like, do you keep your smoking up during the winter, but you just go to the lounge more frequently, or is it still just kind of, or do
I
you
would
see a
say
dip?
that it's a dip. It's definitely a dip.
Okay.
When it's nice weather, I'll fire one up after I mow the lawn every weekend, just to chill and catch some rain. Back on the chaise lounges back there. Because I like to smoke outside. I like the sun and the way it feels. Like when I fish, I usually bring cigars. So, if I'm not catching, I'm smoking.
Yeah, you got something going on.
Yeah, I got something going on. In the summer or in the wintertime, it's less frequently. It's more like when I feel the need to get out,
Yeah. Okay. Well, so because lounges obviously are a good option for the winter, but yeah, I mean it's one of those things where oh my God, the snow you guys get up there. I mean, I guess you're probably used to it by now, but as somebody who we don't get, we don't measure our snow by the foot
Yeah,
here.
we get a couple of inches maybe.
Right.
And they panic and cancel school.
Yeah. Well, they don't want the kids standing out in the cold.
Well, I know. Then they got to be in my living room doing their homework. There's no snow days anymore.
Oh, that's true.
They know how to clear the roads here really good. So, and I've got a big 4-wheel drive GMC Sierra, so I can pretty much get anywhere.
There we go. There you go. So in terms of the cigar, Dave, what are you thinking of the Black Diamond?
Loving this thing, man.
It's surprisingly mild and mellow.
Yeah, it's not overpowering at all.
Yeah, I would say you'd look at it and you're gonna think it's gonna be this like strong.
Yeah, I thought I was in for
a full-bodied cigar, but
punch
no,
in the face. But I'm not.
It's a very nice kind of mellow smoke. It's very easy. It's nice.
Yes, it's pairing very well with this beer.
I do like the beer. I tried the beer.
I thought you would.
I like a nice, red. It's good. It's nice.
Nice little chocolatey.
Yeah, it pairs
goodness
very well with it.
It's like a traditional English brown ale. So there's a sweetness to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
really good at making ales.
I've drank too many of these this week.
Is it too many?
Yes, because now I have to go buy more.
Oh, okay. Okay. All
That's the only way it would be too many.
That's exactly right.
So now Dave here, he does a lot of cons, and Dave how would you describe yourself?
I am an artist for fun. I love drawing comic book style stuff. I have ever since I was in a high chair. I've been a big fan of yours for many, many years.
Oh, thank you.
And you're welcome. And one of my inspirations, as a matter of fact. And of course, I love Batman. Who doesn't? Bane is one of my favorite villains of all time because I'm a huge wrestling fan also. Just kind of those two things intermingled there. And I'm very excited about the new stuff that I don't really know much about, but Nick is going to enlighten me and hopefully let me borrow some books.
I got some inside.
I can make some purchases.
So
excellent.
Now in terms of
comics.com is my website. And all my books, once the backers are fulfilled, then they go up on the website there for other people to discover and get.
Awesome. Well, I will be purchasing some.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Well, I knew that Dave, is a comic book guy. And so I wanted to facilitate a little nice meetup here.
You've been talking about this for like 2 years.
I have.
And I appreciate it.
So
I'm actually the guy who found the Thing bust.
Yes.
He told me one of his buddies found that.
No, that was me.
Well, to get this cigar out of my humidor, I had to take my thing off and open it up and get the cigar out because he sits there on top of my humidor.
Guarding the cigars. I love it.
Did you guys see my Thing chair?
Yes, that is amazing. So how did you all right, for the listeners, he has a chair, like an actual, like, I don't know, like it's a basic chair, but it's done up to look like the Ben Grimm thing from the Fantastic Four. And where did that come from?
I was in a Fantastic Four fan group on Facebook, and this guy posted it in there. And I was like, holy shit, this is so cool. You know, where can I buy this? He says it's custom made. He worked for a marine seat manufacturer. They make seating and stuff for boats. And they're at one of the world's largest boat shows. I believe it was in Kentucky or Tennessee, something like that. And one of the themes must have been comics. So they manufactured this chair to look like the thing. So it's all made of marine boat vinyl, and it's orange and has all the Rocky stuff on it. And then the actual seat cushion part is the blue of his trunks, and then the black band too. So it's like you know, it's like the thing got turned into a chair.
It's amazing.
So then you know, I don't know, half a year later, a few months later, he posts in the same group that he's moving and needs to get rid of it. So I immediately contacted him and says, I want to buy it. And that's how it happened. I bought it.
Nice.
And he shipped it for me.
Oh man, you do a lot of shipping. Can you imagine what shipping a chair would cost?
I wouldn't even attempt it.
It was surprisingly, well, because he shipped it through his company. It was I think $156.
Oh, that's nothing.
He shipped the whole chair, you know, and it was wrapped in vinyl on a pallet and then shrink wrapped and all that kind of stuff. The only problem is that when it was stored, I believe it was in a warehouse where people smoked.
Oh, because so it's got a little.
It had a cigarette stench to it. So I left it outside on my porch for probably a month, and then it wasn't going away. So then I started with the some of the sprays, like pet spray type stuff to draw it out, and I did some washes with baking soda and that kind of stuff, and I got most of it out. I got it out enough to put it down in the studio without it killing me.
There you go.
So I mean, in time it'll probably continue to air out, you know, but it may take a while to be completely, you know, gone. But
I recommend Ozium.
Ozium?
When we get, like, me and my friend do a lot of resale, and we get things from homes that people smoke, and like it's this tall, thin can of spray called Ozium, and it's pretty good stuff. Like, I would say, what's that?
Does it work on vinyl?
Yeah, it'll work on anything. Like, if you could spray it down and then cover it and let it kind of do its thing for a while, I bet you that'll take care of it.
Excellent. I will do that. Ozium.
Now, you posted a Fantastic Four #1 not too terribly long ago, right?
Yeah. I was sitting in the chair reading Fantastic Four #1.
Yeah. I'm like, that's like the epitome of baller move right there.
Baller.
Yeah. It's like when you're just like, I'm going to sit in my thing chair reading my original copy, not even a reprint, not a facsimile or whatever, just original copy of Fantastic Four #1.
Well, Aaron Lepresti lost his mind when he saw that picture. He's a real collector. He likes his stuff in mint condition. He likes his stuff CGC, slabs and all that kind of stuff. And there I am with FF #1 with my leg crossed, and I got a little in the back of it. You know, he's like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, that's gangster.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's the prime pristine copies like what he might be looking for, but there's reader copies, you know, and at some point you got to say, like, look, it's already in this condition. I'm going to read the damn thing.
Absolutely.
So
it's actually about a 5.
Okay.
Pretty good.
It's not a beater copy at all.
No, that is pretty good then.
It's about a 20 grand book.
Oh, goodness. Shit.
Yeah. But I didn't buy it for 20 grand. You know, I bought it back late 80s, early 90s. I think I paid $700 for it.
It's a deal. That's a deal.
It's so crazy to think about, like, that it wasn't that long ago that some of these like really top dollar books were going for those kind of prices.
It was like 5 or 6 years ago, some of them.
Yeah. Well, COVID really jacked the prices up, because people
Yeah.
had money and they were spending it on collectible type things. But when I was first going to conventions, when I was back in the late 80s, every dealer and his brother would have a copy of Amazing Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
And a 3 grade was always about $2,500. And it was like, okay, that's pretty reasonable. But I had 3 daughters, and you never know when work's going to dry up. And I was like, I'll wait. It's not going to go up. Well, forget it. You couldn't buy a coverless one that was beat to shit for $2,500
Mm-hmm.
today.
Well,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. It's like it just all drove up and got expensive. And I'm sure the influx of the movies and everything that didn't help that in any way, shape, or form either. I know, you do a lot of buying and reselling. So obviously when a character is named as being in a movie or TV show,
that's the only reason I keep a lot of comics around, like to fund the ones that I want to have.
Yeah.
I'll wait till they pop off and sell them and buy my Ghost Rider #1 or whatever I've bought in the recent past.
There you go. Okay. Interesting.
Or a bunch
I'm
of
looking
toys
for
off my friend Nick.
A 5? Like
I need
Doom.
an
like the
FF5 is the last one.
Oh, the Dr. Doom. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait,
Price
that's
go ahead.
did you say that's the last one?
It's the last big ticket one that I need.
Oh, okay. I thought
for my Fantastic Four collection.
yeah.
That one's going crazy right now.
It is going crazy, and it's and I see what some of the sites listed as, but then when I see what the dealers are trying to charge for it, I'm like, you should be able to get one for $4,000-5,000 in like a 3 or decent grade. But if you're seeing those going for $12,000-15,000, I'm like, I'm not paying that.
No.
It'll
go back down.
Great deal, with original artwork for it one time, and it almost went through, and then it fell. So
yeah. Well, that sucks, but I mean, it'll go back down. I mean, there's those peaks and valleys, and especially it seems like with villains, when the appearances with villains. Now, granted, Dr. Doom is maybe in a class of his own, but I know when that X-Men flick with Apocalypse came out, you saw the book, that X Factor issue where he premiered, that went up, but then that took a dive, very shortly thereafter.
That's because of the movie as well.
Well, that's true, but
and the first appearance of the Black Panther in Fantastic 452.
Yeah.
That was like skyrocketing into it was a $25 book for the longest time, and then it went into triple digits. And then the Black Panther movie tanked, and same thing with the Inhumans.
Yeah.
The first appearance of the Inhumans was going up, and then that movie tanked, like nobody gave a damn anymore.
Yep.
So I'm hoping the FF movie stinks.
There you go. Boy, Marvel's not. They've had a bit of a poor run lately.
Yeah.
Deadpool, Wolverine, it was good. A lot of fan service in that movie. So if you're not caught up on, all those movies and everything, then you might have been a little lost. But you can't argue with the box office, at least for that movie. It's done well. But
I did love it.
But what I'm saying, aside from that, they've kind of struggled. And I think the new Agatha show is premiering on Disney, like here shortly. And I just don't care.
Yeah, that's scary.
Well, they make Agatha Harkness now a hottie instead of an old lady.
Right? I was gonna say she was always the old lady that was taking care of Franklin.
Yeah, it's FF 94, 93, something like that.
It was somewhere around there.
Yeah, it's in the 90s. Great comic. She was really interesting. Had that Ebony the black cat, that could change stuff, and Ben, who was always like into ghost stories and freaking out, while he was in there. That's a fun story.
I just saw there was a post on Instagram that I saw that I got to forward to you. It was a segment from Entertainment Tonight from like the 80s, early 80s, where they actually sat and interviewed Jack Kirby. And they're talking to him about, what character are you? And he's going through and he's talking about how, he most relates to the thing and, this and that. And they're showing him drawing and it was nice. It was nice to see, and just that little short segment of him and, hearing the voice and everything. And it was pleasant. It was good. So,
That's cool.
Yeah, he doesn't get this.
I've seen him interviewed where he most related to Captain America too one time.
Well, I guess it depends on the day that you ask him. So, why don't we go ahead and do this segment here? It's time for the Villiger Cigars Entertainment Report, brought to you by Villiger. Villiger Cigars, one of the leading cigar and cigarello manufacturers in the world, founded in 1888 and still family owned and operated. Head over to VilligerCigars.com and check the store locator to find a shop near you that carries them. We guarantee that Villiger Cigars will be a wonderful addition to your humidor and cigar rotation. So this is the point in the show when we talk about what we've been entertained by. So what we're watching, what we're reading, what we're listening to, whatever it is, the listeners like recommendations on TV shows, movies, podcasts, books, whatever it is they've been, we've been entertained by. So what's been entertaining you lately?
Well, I'm reading a Carl Hiaasen book, who I really like. I try to read anything that comes out by him. Hiaasen, John D. McDonald, Elmore Leonard, three of my favorite writers, and you can see some of their stylings in my writing, particularly when you read Ghosts of Matacumba Key.
Yeah,
that one is very clearly inspired by all three of those guys. The one I'm reading right now is Bad Monkey, and they just turned that into a series on Apple TV. I heard with Vince Vaughn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'm going to resubscribe just to watch that show, actually.
Oh, okay. So far it's a great book. But he doesn't disappoint usually, Carl Hiaasen. So that's what I'm currently reading. Watching, I don't have any shows that I'm watching religiously.
Now you've been doing a video cast series on YouTube that I've seen where you're going through the original Star Trek.
Right, The Landing Party.
Yeah.
Where we take all the original series Star Trek episode in the order that they were filmed, and not the order that they aired on TV. So we're getting to see all the character development as it comes, as it happens in real time, which is really, really cool.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of fun.
How's that been going? Like, how far along are you in on that?
We're on episode 20. We just finished episode 23, Space Seed.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's the one that brings to everybody.
Oh yeah, you gotta get Khan. That was a good one, man. I liked, and probably most people, first and second season of the original Star Trek. That's where you had the gems. That third season, it definitely took a dip, but
there's only a handful of third season episodes that are any good.
Yeah.
Also, the worst episodes of the series are in the third season.
Yeah, well, and it's funny because like some of the Star Trek purists will be like, well, you have to watch the original series. I like the original series, but I feel like of the original series, there are maybe, I don't know, arguably maybe about a dozen that you absolutely have to, like, these are the prime ones, these are the really, really good ones. Then there's the next level where it's like, okay, that was good. Then you get the ones where it's like Space Lincoln and, things like that. So
the Savage Curtain.
Yeah, see, there you go.
Third season.
Okay, I'm blanking on the name and I shouldn't, but one of my favorite ones is the episode where they encounter the Romulans for the first time. And that's when they, what's the name of that one? Do you remember? I'm putting you on the spot.
Um, not Patterns of Force.
Uh,
Drawing a blank here. It's one of my favorite episodes. I gave it a 10.
it's such a good episode, and the tension and the it's so good, and I love that it kind of also plays into that whole Cold War analogy of the whole show, in that you had the United States as Starfleet, and you had the Klingons that were the Russians, but then now all of a sudden you're drawing in this other contingent that nobody really knows about, and it's the Romulans, but they're kind of the Chinese, you know.
Oh,
Yeah.
And yeah,
because the neutral zone is basically not no man's land. In Vietnam, it was they were coming over, taking shots, and then going back.
yeah. So no, so it's really interesting when you look at, if you look at Star Trek through the eyes of the politics of the day, there's so much going on in that show that people don't acknowledge. So
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna have to recheck it out, because it's been since I was a kid, since I watched the original series. So I grew up with, the Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and all that. So I'm a big YouTube guy. I'm gonna definitely check out your channel, because that would be right up my alley. That'd be cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We get into some heated discussions. We go off on tangents too. Because I've got 3 other people on the show with me, and they all have different opinions, and it's a lot of fun.
now, are you guys gonna do the animated series?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Everybody forgets about the animated series, but it is totally the 4th season of Star Trek, and it's so much better than the 3rd season of Star Trek.
It is, and a lot of the writers that wrote for the original series wrote episodes for the animated show.
Mm-hmm. And everybody came back except for, I believe, Chekhov.
Yeah, but he wrote one of the episodes.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's the first cast member to actually write a Star Trek episode.
Interesting.
Cool.
Very cool. So what else have you been watching or entertained by? Anything else you feel like noting?
I just got a 75-inch 4K TV. So we've been watching, movies and stuff on that, especially stuff that's relatively new that you can see in 4K.
Yeah.
Or things that have been upscaled and stuff. So I've been enjoying the hell out of that. Been watching, before we came on here, I was watching 13 Hours, true story of the Benghazi raid.
Yeah.
Great movie. So great.
Super lighthearted on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, super lighthearted. Yeah. But it's got some, really kick-ass stuff in it. So
yeah, I would think so. And that would look really good on a big screen like that.
Yeah. Because the cinematography on it is so interesting. The colors and stuff that they use. So great. I love that movie.
Yeah. Dave, you got anything you want to throw out for discussion?
Yeah, I'm always watching something.
Yeah.
Besides YouTube, I watch all kinds of things on there, but we started the new season of Only Murders in the Building.
I have not started that yet.
It's fantastic. So
okay.
You wonder how. Do what?
I'm sorry, we couldn't hear.
I bailed after season 1.
Did you?
Really?
I wondered. I kept wondering how they would keep it going, but they're doing a pretty good job of keeping the story going. I'm enjoying it.
This is the last season.
I would think so.
I'm pretty sure this is the last season.
It's pretty funny so far.
Okay. I went to the drive-in last night, and I saw the double feature of the new Beetlejuice movie, and it was followed by Trap, which is the new M. Night Shyamalan movie. But I'd already watched that, so I tuned my frequency on the radio to the other screen, because I parked far enough back that I could see both screens, and I watched the new Twisters, I guess. So
you broke the rules.
I did. I broke the rules. They said don't do that.
Looks like Hollywood lost their ideas again.
Yeah. Well, exactly. But what I love about the drive-in, and I've said this on the show before, is I can bring my chair. I can bring, I ran through a Chinese restaurant and got dinner before I went up there. and sat out, and I had my cigars, and so I'm just out there sitting and smoking and enjoying the pleasant weather, and it was a great time. So that's the nice part about it.
They let you smoke cigars there?
Yeah, they let you smoke cigars there. The only thing they crack down on is weed, which I'm not a weed smoker, so I don't care. But they've got things on the screen saying that they don't tolerate that. But dude, I went through 2 cigars last night over the course of 2 movies. It was great.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a little bit of America, just that little
It's
bit.
still there. It's still there.
It's still there. Actually, the drive-in near me, they're celebrating. They're coming up to the end of the season here, but they're celebrating their 75th year in business.
Wow.
And at the time that they opened, there were over 4,000 drive-ins in the country. Now there's about 300, and they were just named the #1 drive-in in the nation by USA Today. So
That's great.
It was pretty cool. But
I wish we had one near me. I'm like in the middle, like 2 hours either way to get to drive-in. I might just start one. You never know.
They got real popular during COVID, because obviously you can't go. They weren't going to the theaters, but they were showing old movies. So
Hollywood wasn't making any new ones.
exactly.
Yep.
But I'll say the new Beetlejuice, it was better than I expected it to be. It's not as good as the original, of course, but it was better than I expected it to be. And Twisters, well, that was funny because as I was watching Beetlejuice, on the other screen, they did a double feature of Twister followed by Twisters. And so every once in a while, I glance over at Twister just to kind of like refresh my mind about that movie, because I knew the next one up I was going to switch and watch. And what's funny is just how almost beat for beat the new one is a direct like copy of the original one. And it's like, okay, so we're basically just doing the same movie just with different people and a bigger tornado this time.
Yep.
Of course.
So yeah, but I didn't see any livestock flying across the screen in the new one, though. We didn't have the flying cow
No
this time.
Sharknado.
No
sharks.
no sharks. No. We did have a fire tornado, though. One of them caught on fire, so that was new. That was different.
I think that's a real thing, right?
That is a real thing, and that's
Scary.
terrifying when you think about
Imagine that.
Yeah. Catch a gas station or something.
There's a show that I started watching on HBO. I think it's a Discovery show, but HBO Discovery, the same thing. And it's about these storms. I forget what it's called. Something storms. And each episode focuses on a major storm of various kinds: tornadoes, hurricanes, blizzards, that kind of stuff. And one of the ones they covered was the 2022 blizzard in Buffalo.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I think 104 people died.
Okay, that's not interesting. That sucks.
No, yeah.
Yeah,
that's horrific.
The cold temperatures and the amount of snow were like unprecedented. Primarily the cold temperatures, and it was really, really, really interesting. And then, but the ones that really scared me were the tornado ones, because it's pitch black at night. You're living in a place where there's no friggin' basements.
That's it.
And all of a sudden you just hear it. And,
Yep.
1 minute you're sitting there watching TV or you're in bed sleeping, and the next minute you're waking up, with rubble around you. There's no warning,
You're
that's
right.
Terrifying.
That's the thing. Tornadoes at night. Tornado, like right now, if a storm started coming in, you knew it was getting stormy. You knew you could watch. You're awake. You're conscious. You can watch. You can take appropriate measures. At night, you're sleeping. It's dark. You don't know what's going on, and next thing you know, it's just that's the most terrifying thing. I don't like that at all.
Florida, you when there's hurricanes, all right, you had like 3 days notice. It's coming. It's gonna be around, whatever. But at any rate, it's coming. You can make preparations. You can board up your windows, whatever. You can get the hell out of Dodge if you have to. But those tornadoes, boy, blizzards or whatever. If you're in your home and you got wood to burn and you lose power, you can get your fireplace going. You can survive until things get back on.
Yeah. No, tornadoes, man, they come out of nowhere, and that's the scary part. Now, hell, with hurricanes now to that point, some of the weathercasters down in Florida, they're tracking storms off the coast of Africa, trying to figure out projections to see where they're coming. So, like in some cases, they might know a week in advance or better before anything's even hit in Florida. So, yeah, it's been interesting. I just recently had our annual listener get together in Florida. We did it in Palm Coast, Florida, just south of St. Augustine. It's a half an hour south of St. Augustine, half an hour north of Daytona. And gorgeous,
north of Port Orange.
yeah, gorgeous area. So they were doing all this work on Flagler Beach, and it was really interesting to find out what they were doing. So I guess over the years with the storms, the beach had kind of eroded away, and so the water line was significantly closer, and so they wanted to build out the beach. So they had like this barge, kind of about 7 miles off, and they're pumping sand, and they've got a big pipe that's bringing the sand up to the beach, and then they've got all the machinery and they're smoothing it out and building beach. And they finished it while we were up there, to where it's really interesting because the old sand had this kind of cinnamon yellow or orange color, and then the new sand is this kind of gray, kind of oceany sand. But the guy in charge of it was talking about how over the years it'll eventually like mix, and it'll all become that orange color again, and this and that. But they just wanted to make sure they got it done before the next storm season, so that it wouldn't just wash away, and they wanted to have it time to let it set. But it's really interesting to watch that.
They were doing that when we were in Orange Beach last year. They had the barges out there and these big pipes floating and just pumping it in.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
it is
called a dredge.
Okay.
Now
they
we know.
dredge it, and they pull that stuff up and replenish the beach sand. It's their bread and butter in the state of Florida.
No
so
kidding.
They have to do that. Because the thing is that when you start digging it out from there, you're changing the bottom of the ocean there, and so that's going to affect how the waves and tide come in too.
Oh, that's true. I didn't think about that. Yeah. That sand's got to come from somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you go out far enough, if you can see the barge, it's not that far.
That's true. Yeah, and you definitely could see the barge, and the guy told me it was about 7 miles out. So,
okay,
interesting. You ought to come to that next year. We've got dates tentatively planned for August 22nd through the 24th. We're doing it again next year down there, and
August in Florida.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. And I'll tell you, but here's the thing. And this goes back to what we were talking about earlier about, supporting the little guy and everything else. So the shop that hosts it, it's their slow time, kind of like you don't do as much smoking during the winter because of the snow. The Florida folks, they don't do as much smoking during the summer because it's so hot. And so the Ash and Ale Lounge down there in Palm Coast, that's their slow time of year. And so we kind of planned it for that as a way to do a little economic influx into the shop. And I'm really happy and proud to say that my listeners that came down spent enough to where we not only gave the shop its 2 best days ever since the current owner bought it 2 years ago on Friday and Saturday this year, but Friday was actually his best day ever. We only missed it by like $100 the second day. But we did enough that weekend that it like more than made his month. I mean, we did significant money, that weekend for his month. So
that's great.
It worked. That's the thing. We did a nice economic shot in the arm for this guy in a time that he needed it. And so that was nice. And then also it's in like this little kind of village area. It's called the European Village. And there's all these restaurants and other places around there. And I know they saw a big influx of money too, because people needed to drink and eat and things of that nature while they were there. So it was nice. It worked out really well. So yeah, it was hot. I'm sorry.
How many people did you have show up at the thing?
we had between his customers and my listeners probably about 60 to 65, which, you know, his place isn't huge. So realistically, it was it was kind of tight. But between inside seating, outside patio seating, and just some milling around and stuff, I mean, and people would come and go. You know, that's the other thing. People made vacations out of it. So they would pop in, they'd pop out, and things of that nature. But Friday night was the busiest. It seemed like Friday was like when everybody just kind of congregated and hung out. And but it worked out well. And I'm really happy that it did, because like I said, it was beneficial to him. And you know, the sponsors of the event and everything, they saw, you know, good sales because they sold product to the shop, who then turned around and sold it to the consumer. So it was a very nice, like, kind of everybody won situation. So, but it was, to your point, it was hotter than shit. And Saturday was more than a little humid, but we managed. We did fine.
I'm gonna try to talk my wife into making that our vacation next year, because that would be perfect.
There you go.
You know,
But you know, maybe just consider.
I'm still waiting on my first class ticket to go to this one, Nick. I heard you were supposed to mail us all tickets.
No,
fly down.
no, I'm not providing tickets to anybody. So
That's just what I heard.
Come to one of my conventions where I do the Hawaiian Shirt Cigar Fests.
And that's what I
Let's
wanted
do
to
that.
bring up. So where do you know your con schedule for 25 yet, or is it still a little early?
No, but the one show I do, and I have done for the last 3 years, is the Garden State Comic Fest.
Okay.
That's Morristown, New Jersey, and that's a big CG turnout of fans and stuff. We had over 60 people on the patio that night. This past June, I think, is when that runs. So we had a really great turnout.
Now tell Dave a little bit about this, because I've seen this on your Instagram. But tell Dave what this is, because I have follow-up questions about this as well.
Yeah. Well, I decided to do these things. I think the first one I did, it was at Terrific Con in Connecticut. And I just let the fans know that, you know, bring a Hawaiian shirt and a cigar. And somebody always brings whiskey, more than somebody, is usually half a dozen, drinking bottles of whiskey. And we'll be drinking whiskey, wearing Hawaiian shirts, smoking cigars, talking about pop culture things, whatever. And it's just a great way for the fans and pros to intermingle and just, you know, have a great time together. And I started it at Terrific Con. I've done it there a couple of years. I've done it 3 years now at Garden State Comic Fest. I did it once in Tampa at the Tampa Con. And it's just it's a ball, and it gets bigger every time, because word gets out, and now people come and they want to know, when's the cigar fest? When's the cigar fest? You know.
So how many, like, first time cigar smokers have you had?
It's, you know, I don't know the number.
Okay.
I know a few because I had to teach them how to clip it and, you know, light it and all that. But you know, a lot of people aren't going to admit it, you know, so just, you know, fire up, you know. And I always bring extra cigars too for people that come that don't have them and they want one, you know, that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, there's a few first timers. I know one in particular now is smoking cigars.
See, that's what I wanted to know. I wanted to know, like, how much of this was an introductory thing to people to that aspect of life as well. Because you know, let's be real, cigar smoking gets a bad rap from a lot of people because of the whole anti-tobacco, anti-this, anti-that. And it's like it's so different from all the rest of that you know, it's not anywhere near as bad as what everybody's saying. And so, like, you know, I like
soda.
I'm sorry,
drinking soda.
Yes,
drinking soda, like, you know, not diet soda, which is bad too, but drinking sugar laden sodas is going to be worse for you than these things. Did you ever see that interview of Jewel Burns on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson? He's sitting there. He's 93 years old at the time, and he's got a cigar, because you could smoke on TV back then. He's got this big old stogie, and he's smoking. And
El Perfectos.
Yeah,
he would smoke El Perfectos. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, he would smoke El Perfectos. Yeah.
So Johnny says to him, he says, George, how many cigars do you smoke a day? He goes, well, this is my 11th today. I typically
Oh my gosh.
I typically smoke 15 to 20 a day. He goes, 15 to 20 a day? Does your doctor tell you? And he interrupts him and goes, my doctor's dead. And then George Burns went on to live another 6 more years. He was 99 when he died, smoking 15 to 20 cigars a day.
And that's the thing. There's so much about it that's not, comparable. We don't have the 110 chemicals in our product that cause cancer like the cigarettes do. You don't
inhale it.
You don't inhale it. Lord only knows what the vaping's doing to people. I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, but
there's to find people with fibrous stuff in their lungs from that stuff.
I can believe it. I could believe it. So, no, I'll stick with my my classic thing that the Indians came up with way back long before we were even discovering this country, and that'll be fine.
So we need to make it a point to go, me and you, to one of these conventions.
I agree,
because this sounds like a dream come true, like nerding out with whiskey and cigars.
I mean, we're kind of doing
that's what we're doing
now
on a small scale.
Exactly, small scale. But
we'll have a whole community.
Well, because it's not just you have other professionals that like cigars that come out and everything too, right?
Oh yeah, at the one in New Jersey, usually Billy Tucci's there, Andy Smith, Ethan Van Sciver, and then other people who come along later on that are guests of the show that maybe weren't there the year before. But those guys are pretty regulars.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's we got another segment we got to get to here, so let's do this. It's time to fly high with Blackbird Cigars. Blackbird Cigars offers you remarkable quality using the most delicate and finest tobacco to always ensure that you're receiving unsurpassed cigars. Blackbird Cigars strives to give you undoubted repeating flavor for every cigar you smoke and impressive quality so that you can always expect greatness. Check out their website for a full list of stores carrying Blackbird Cigars and give them a test flight. Blackbird Cigars can't clip our wings. All right, this is the point in the show when we give just a brief little story about somebody who did something badass, and kind of a little inspirational thing. And so today we're going to talk about Holly Christensen. She's a former cancer nurse who makes princess wigs out of yarn for sick children. Losing one's hair while undergoing chemotherapy can be traumatizing, especially for children. And Holly Christensen is a mother of 3 and former oncology nurse. She aims to help make things a little easier. And with the help of a partner, Bree Hitchcock, and money raised from her GoFundMe page, the Magic Yarn Project was created, and it helps kids all over the world feel beautiful. So guys, be like Holly Christensen and Blackbird Cigars, and don't let anyone clip your wings.
That's much better than the one that you did a couple shows ago, where he set the Guinness record and then did away with that record completely.
Oh yeah,
kind of depressing.
We had one. It was a high school kid, and for a scientific study, he stayed awake for 11 straight days. And I mean, he went nuts essentially. But these Stanford scientists were, these Stanford scientists were studying him, and but anyway, he had the world record technically for it. But Guinness has since pulled that from the record books because they don't want other people attempting to break that record because it was so medically bad for him.
Wow.
So
they should give him like a prestige mention, like to never be broken.
You would think, but
just say, Tim did something really cool. We're not going to tell you what it is, but he holds the record for it.
There you go. Right. There you go. I was say you need some acknowledgement, for God's sakes. If you're going to stay up 11 straight days. Oh, yeah, that one was rough. I remember that reading that one. I was like, okay.
That just ruined my drive to work.
I'm like, really? I mean,
no, not to that extent.
I was gonna say, I'm like, it was interesting, but
it wasn't.
Yeah. So anyway, well, in terms of the socials, I'm available on Instagram at the Cigar Pulpit. We have the Facebook group, the Pulpit Parishioners group. You can get in on the fun on Facebook, on Twitter/X, YouTube, where you can watch us. And guys, we do have the Ask the Pulpit hotline for you to call in with your comments, questions, concerns, whatever. That's area code 863-874-0000. I'm watching my umbrella, making sure it's not going to fly away. And then we'll start with Graham. Graham, where can people follow you and get updates about everything going on with you and Compass Comics?
Well, first you can start off at compasscomics.com. You can connect to my latest projects and previous projects that are there. You can buy all the books that I've completed already. On YouTube, I do shows on YouTube, including The Landing Party. And that's at Nolanverse CC. And I'm on Twitter. I think it's gnolan12, and it's the same on Instagram.
Okay. And now, just real quick before we get to Dave's, because I don't want to forget yours.
Okay.
Aside from The Landing Party, you do some other great like comics history things and whatnot on your YouTube.
Yeah, I do a show called The Storytellers, where I take somebody's work who I admire and do a deep dive into it. Sometimes they've passed. Sometimes, if they're still alive, I have them on as guests to talk about their work. And we discuss, the various aspects of visual and narrative art.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
And Dave, where can people follow you?
They can follow me on Smokin Butts and Tappin Facebook page, which me and my two other, challenge friends do a barbecue podcast. But for the artwork, which is what I'm dead set into at this moment, is Red Banana Art by David Clark on everything you can imagine.
Okay.
Yes, I've been posting a lot of videos like time-lapse drawings and things.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I've had a lot of fun doing that.
Well, there you go. Well, fun. Do you have any questions you want to ask? I mean, we got the guy,
Yeah.
This is your moment.
What was the inspiration to create Bane? That's what I've been wondering, like design-wise.
Design-wise was, as you guessed, Mexican luchador.
Yeah.
He was being raised in like this Central American prison, and I figured if he was going to be exposed to any kind of costuming, it might be from that. So that was my base.
Perfect.
And I added some stuff like Cuban rebel military pants, boots, that kind of stuff, and then made them all black, because he's a villain. So black leather, wrestling singlet, for the top. And then I needed a device to send the venom into his head, and we couldn't have him injecting himself because the comics code at that time wouldn't allow that. So we needed something. So I came up with the thing on his wrist that he presses the button and sends the juice up into his brain directly.
Nice.
Very cool.
Awesome. Another question before, wrap it up.
Oh, no. I just wanted to give you your moment.
Thanks, Nick. I appreciate it. Nowadays, do you do a lot of digital art, or are you still a pencil and paper guy?
I do a lot of digital art. I use my iPad Pro, and I use Procreate.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, for the book I'm working on right now, Escape from Monster Island, I'm doing that traditionally because the first two books were done traditionally, and I want the original artwork for all three of this trilogy to match up. So I will do all my layouts and stuff digitally, and then I'll transfer them to the board. I'll print them in blue line on my board and then ink it traditionally so that I have the actual original artwork for it.
Awesome. Yes, I very much prefer pencil and marker now. I did a big span of digital art, and I still do some, but I just like sitting down with a pencil and markers and zoning out.
I love the digital aspect because I can have my iPad on my lap while I'm watching a movie.
Yes.
And like this morning, I wanted to work on this page that has, a lot of detail and stuff. And so I was just working on it this morning while I was sitting upstairs with my wife having our coffee. I'm not locked into my board, so to speak. I have a lot more freedom, and my eyes aren't what they used to be, so I have to put on like some close glasses if I want to try and ink anything that is small, like small figures and stuff like that. So switching glasses. Whereas digitally, I just blow the damn thing up and get all the details I need and then shrink it right back down. The other advantage is, particularly in the layout stage, is if proportions are off or placement is off, I can do individual characters. If I have a bunch of characters on different layers, and then I can move them around so that they're in the proper position. So I don't have tangent lines or let's say I drew the head too small and I'm looking at it, I don't have to white it out and redo it, redraw it. I just, I can select it, reduce it or enlarge it or whatever it is that has to be corrected.
Yeah, it's very handy.
Yeah. So I
do you have
find
any,
I work faster.
Do you have any recommendations on like videos or a class to learn Procreate? Because I mess with it, but there's so much to it for such a simple program. It's kind of overwhelming to try to go from Photoshop to that.
Well, Photoshop has a much bigger learning curve than Procreate. Procreate is much more intuitive. It's like drawing, once you learn what the brushes are, your favorite brushes and stuff, you're still working in layers. I find it much easier than like Clip Studio, which I know a lot of people use because it offers a lot of really cool stuff. But again, the learning curve on that is so I don't have the time to do it.
Yeah.
There are plenty of YouTube videos on Procreate, how to color comics on Procreate, how to draw them, inking is pretty much as you would on a board, it's pretty much the same. Just find the brush that you like, select it and off you go. But the coloring is a lot more in depth. And I've watched some videos on that and I've learned a lot from, how to color my own stuff. But if you don't do it enough, you're not fast enough to make it profitable. So, I'll color pinups and stuff, maybe some covers every once in a while, but it slows me down to the point where, if it's something for print, I'll hire a professional, let him color it, and then I can be working on other things, time management.
All right. Awesome, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, sure.
And so just to end on a cigar note, considering I guess this is technically a cigar podcast. What have you been smoking lately that you wanna shout out? Anything good that's crossed your humidor lately that you've been liking?
I'm loving these Gurkhas.
Yeah.
It's 45 minutes. If you don't have a lot of time, like this one's lasted the whole show that we've been on.
Yeah.
If I got 45 minutes, boom, I can have one of these. It's a box press, Madeira, or Maduro wrapper. So it's got a little kick to it. Very, very nice.
Nice.
And you can get, I got these as a sample pack on Cigar International.
Yeah.
Cigars. Box of 20. It was like $79.
Yeah. No, you get some deals. You get some deals. I just recently tried the Villiger Export. So they're little I guess you'd call them cigarellos, but they're premium tobacco. They're box pressed. They're kind of squarish in shape. You get a box of them. It's like a 5-pack, and they're already pre-cut. You don't have to worry about clipping them. But 15-minute smoke. So if you have 15 minutes and you just want to have a cigar, they're amazing. They're fantastic. So I'm expecting a box here shortly from the post office that should be arriving today with some stuff, and I think that some of those should be in there. So I'll dig back through messages to find your mailing address, and I'll shoot some of those your way so that you can give those a try. Because, like I said, for a real quick smoke, man, I mean, they're aces.
What's the ring gauge on that?
It's maybe small? They're little. They almost slightly bigger than a cigarette. They're little cigarello things. So but they're like I said, they're great for if you're out walking the dog in the wintertime and you just you're going to take a 10-minute walk with the dog or something like that. You can burn through this in 10 minutes, but it's all premium tobacco. It's not like you're getting like the chop, whatever, and you're not getting there's no chemicals or anything. It is a cigar. It's just tiny, but and it tastes good. So, for a 10-20 minute, if you want to like take your time with it, smoke, it's perfect. for that.
Cool.
So yeah.
Also, I think it's Alec Bradley who's paired up with not Acid. Forget what the other company is. And they produce sort of a flavored cigar. They have one that's a cherry.
Okay.
That's a mocha.
Okay.
They're box presses. Gosh, I can't remember the name of them now. But those are really good. You know, when you put your lips on them, you get that little taste of coffee or a little taste of cherry.
Is it you're not talking about the Javas?
Yes, the
Okay.
Java Red and the Java.
So that's
those are great.
Rocky Patel, actually.
That's it.
Rocky Patel with Drew Estate. And yes, there's one, the Java Mint.
Drew Estate, not Alec Bradley. Right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Yep.
But the Java Mint, I don't smoke it on the regular, but like every once in a while, that one is amazing because it tastes just like a Girl Scout Thin Mint cookie.
It's a winner.
It's super good. It's got that nice chocolatey kind of component, but it's got that little mint component to it. And it smells like and tastes like a Girl Scout Thin Mint cookie. But you're right,
Nice.
they have the other one that's got the cherry flavor to it, and it's really good. And it's not that cough. It's not that cough syrup cherry. You know, sometimes you get one. There was one that I had, and I can't remember it. I had it on the show. We did it. The other people on the show were smoking actual pipes, and I had this one because it was pipe tobacco cigar, but it was cherry flavored. Oh, it tasted like cough syrup. It was just
that's the worst.
It was horrific. But you're right. The Java Red, that's a good one.
Yeah.
So.
And the mocha one is really good too because it has like a smooth coffee taste. Yeah, almost like coffee. You know, it's really, really good. And I love a box press. I love the feel of a box press in my hands, you know, when you're holding it. And, you know, you're never trying to find that perfect, like if you got a punch like me, if you're not dead center, sometimes you're rolling it around to get that.
I tend to go more for the round. I'm not the mouth feel throws me off with the box press sometimes. Now there's one from JC Newman. I don't know if you've smoked it, the Yagua, and that cigar they rolled and they pack it in the traditional way where they tie it off with a banana palm leaf, and by taking the cigars in a bundle, tying it off in the leaf, what ends up happening is you get very bizarrely shaped cigars. Sometimes you'll get one that's round. Sometimes if it's more near the center of the bundle, it'll be more round, but then you'll get ones that maybe are like almost diamond shaped. You'll get one
triangle.
Like it'll be almost like one side's really flat and then it's like a weird triangle shape.
They're very good.
But they're so good. And the uniqueness of it, I find that when I go to the store and I buy one, they come out maybe 2 times a year. So they're kind of limited when they do come out. But when I do, and I go to the store to, get a single or something like that, I seek the one out in the box that's like the most bizarre shape. I want the one that's the most unique shape of all of them. But it's got a real kind of hayride, earthy, kind of barnyardy kind of flavor to it and everything. But it's really good, and it's a nice slow smoke. You get a lot of time out of that one.
Oh, nice.
And I think it's only like $10 for a single.
They're affordable.
So that's the other thing, is for a limited edition cigar, they're very affordable.
Yeah, I don't know what you guys pay in your excise tax, but cigars in New York State are expensive.
Oh, they're stupid.
Because of the stupid pricing of the taxes that are on there. I mean, I get a discount because I'm a club member, and that helps knock it down. But stuff that you buy at like Cigar International, you can't beat the prices because paying that excise tax on it.
I think New York's like what, 75%?
I think they just passed that like last year or something like that to really crush it.
It's so expensive. And
the irony is that they take these taxes, the cigarette and stuff taxes, and they're supposed to they just spend the shit.
Yep.
They throw it in the general fund. And they can spend it on whatever they want.
Yep.
So if they do away with this, they're going to be missing out on a shit ton of money.
And that's the thing that I never understood. It's like, when they pass these tax increases, you hear these politicians talk about, for public health, we want tax the hell out of this product so that, you know, people will start to stop smoking and all this. But then they rely on that money for so much that they really don't want people to stop. They just want them to pay more.
Sure. And they want it to look like they want you to stop.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then they restrict where you can smoke to where they're forcing you out of going to places. But meanwhile, here in Illinois, you've got pot lounges to where, you know, because the state has figured out, oh, we can sell the pot and we can tax the hell out of the pot and whatever. And now they've got the pot lounges, but yet if I wanted to start a cigar lounge in Illinois, fuck my life, you know?
Impossible.
Yeah. You have to jump through hoops and you'd get stung, probably with multiple taxes.
Yeah. It's
You
ridiculous.
know what, government, stay out of my life. Just, you know, make sure the roads are paved. How about that?
That's all I want.
That's all I want. You know, stay out of everything else.
Pave the roads, clear the snow, protect me in case of foreign invasion. Otherwise, get out of my way.
Mow the damn median also.
Yeah, there you go.
They stopped mowing down where I live. Like it's just looks like a forest.
Yep.
That's terrible.
Just little things. Just little things.
Little things. Stop getting into the big things and stop getting into our lives and turning it into a nanny state.
That's I feel, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm being overly optimistic. I feel like maybe we're taking a little bit more of a swing back into, you know, maybe, I don't know. I don't know. We won't need to get into all that.
November 5th, I'm hoping.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, because we could definitely swing in the wrong way real quick on November 5th. If so
we're in that zone.
All right. Well, Graham, thank you so much for taking time out of your day today. I really appreciate it. Dave, same.
Yes, thank you
Absolutely.
for having me on. Thank you for being a guest.
My pleasure.
It's very nice to meet you.
Yeah, it was nice meeting you too. It's always fun hanging out and having a cigar together, right?
For sure. For sure. Well, guys, this has been another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm Nick.
Dave.
And that's Graham. Everybody stay safe and stay smoking. I forgot. You and I need to give our final thoughts on our Black Diamond cigars here and how it paired with the Maduro Brown Ale. I'm digging the hell out of the combination here. The cigar, it has picked up in strength as it's gotten near the end. But it's still not a slit your throat kind of heavy, you know, full bodied cigar. It's a nice light medium. And
I've been chasing this breeze that we have on mine, but other than that, rock solid.
And then in terms of that with the Maduro Brown Ale, I mean, like, oh my gosh, it's a perfect pairing. I'm loving it, and I'm digging this beer. I
might actually drink 4 or 5 more when I get home.
You might?
I might.
Okay. All right then. All right. Graham, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right. Stop recording.